Everybody's got a to-do list. I have a to-do list, and item number 3 is make to-do list. Do you get it? Drop off the dry cleaning. Pick up some milk. Here's an idea. Let's save hundreds of dollars on car insurance. Now that I really do want to do. And the good thing is you don't have to drop off or pick up anything. All you have to do is go to geico.com, and in 15 minutes you could be saving 15% or more on car insurance. I'm doing it. Extra money in my pocket. I want it. It just may be the most rewarding to do you do today.
Now Podcast One brings you Spike's Car Radio, a downloadable cars and coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast Spike Ferriston. Now, here's Spike.
All right, everybody, welcome to Spike's Car Radio. Here we are on a Monday. I don't know what day it is for you. I guess it's Wednesday. We're going to post this show right away. We got a good show for you today, Zuckerman. We've got Joe Rivello, who is from Taco Mini Bike, sitting out there. He's going to come talk to us. Also, we have one of the nominees, ESPY Sports Awards nominees for Racer of the Year, Best Driver of the Year 2019. Steve Torrence is calling in. Isn't that great?
Steve Torrence here.
Steve Torrence, he's a drag racer, right? That is a world we know little about. And he's nominated alongside Kyle Busch, our buddy Scott Dixon, and Lewis Hamilton. So amazing company there. Good show. Before we get into that stuff, though, I want to promo the Pebble Beach show, Zuckerman. You know, every year I do a Pebble Beach forum. I'm doing 2 of them this year. 2. On Thursday, 8:15, I've got Adam Carolla. He and I, we're going to go head-to-head up on the stage at the Spanish Bay.
2 podcasting
It's
giants.
less, these 4, I'm not sure. I will record these for the podcast, but they're really to benefit charity, and it's part of the Pebble Beach Concours. Adam's graciously taking time off from his racing that day, and we're going to come and talk about something. But it's Adam, so of course it'll be wildly entertaining and fun. I hope you all come to that, and make sure you get tickets quick because they do sell out quickly. I'm not even sure if they're up yet, but people have been DMing me about it, so somehow they know about it. Friday, if you missed Thursday, Friday, 8/16, August 16th, I will be with none other than Pat Dempsey and Hurley Haywood and the Porsche factory folks, and we're going to do a Porsche Motorsports racing panel with just me, Pat, and Hurley to promote Hurley and Pat's movie, but also just to promote Porsche Motorsports. And that's an official Porsche-sanctioned SCR Pebble Beach Concours event.
2 great events.
Those are going to be fun, right?
Wow.
Yeah,
really.
I almost wish I could just sit and watch them.
Those are a big deal.
Of being up
big
there.
Deal, Ferriston.
Yeah, and the tickets are all, the money that they make from the tickets all goes to charity. So it goes to the local Monterey charity, so we can feel good about the whole deal. And it gives me a reason to go up, and you a reason to come up, and Jerry a reason to come up. Zuckerman, before we get into the show, I've got a lot of updates, so just bear with me and comment as we go. I opened up my Instagram app the other day and I saw a Spike's Car Radio hat at Bill's. Now, it's nothing that I sanctioned. It was Bill from the Malibu Kitchen had some hats made. He's having our merch made, which it made me laugh. I was at the taping of a friend's show and I went, boy, that's a cool hat.
He's counterfeiting. He's like China.
No, he realizes there's an opportunity, and you and I we have other jobs. This isn't my only job,
he
right?
He can do it.
I work in entertainment. 90% of my week is entertainment, and the big Instagram promotional part of my week is the car stuff. And everybody thinks I'm only in the car. Well, I'm not. I'm in entertainment. Anyway, the hats are beautiful. He did a great job with them. We're trying to figure that out. Stop DMing me about it. All of our shirts are going to run through Blip Shift. We're very happy with that. They've got another shirt coming out from Monterey Car Week, which I showed you, Zuckerman, but keep it a secret. It's a good one.
Anything.
You'll have a chance to get it in a hoodie. Any incarnation except for a hat. I guess they don't make hats. And Bill is going to handle the hats.
You got to go to the Malibu Kitchen to get one of these
they don't have them yet.
Hats.
Don't send them yet. They're not there. They're not done.
Go there now, so he explodes in rage.
We have the prototypes, but he's the old system, right? He wants us to spend $1,000 buying inventory, and then he's selling it behind the deli counter. Fine. Whatever, fine. We're going to do that, and it sounds like if you want a Spice Car Radio hat, you got to come visit Bill. That will happen. But I've been getting messages from as far away as Sweden for that because I took a picture of one because I was excited when I saw it, and now, and I made a few tweaks. It said Spice Car Radio on the front, but I'm putting "Da Money" on the back over this little hole right here. You see that one?
Yes.
And Jerry and Bill and I worked out the spelling of "da money."
How do we spell that? We've never known.
D-A, duh, M-U-H hyphen N-E-Y. Da money. We feel like gets across everything we need to get across. Are you okay with that?
I'm very pleased with this.
So you will be represented on the hat,
yes.
Zuckerman. Da money.
Da money.
Speaking of Da money, we have to give Da money to Joe Rivello today for his
What a
taco
wad
mini
of
bite.
cash, too. I'm waving it around.
This is good. I have something else I wanted to talk about. Two other things, especially with you. But one, you know, and I hadn't planned on talking about this, but I saw an example of it yet again today on Sunset Boulevard coming here. A Miami Blue Panamera GTS, a beautiful car. The driver had clearly been written up for not having a front license plate. And what he decided to do, Zuckerman, what did he decide to do?
I'm going to guess that he had one of these stickers.
No, that would have been smart. I forgot about that solution.
The little sticker of a small miniaturized license plate sticker that you paste onto the front of your car.
You can get this done. Not many people know that solution, but you're right. That's a great solution. No, this jackass put a pole out of the right side of front of his bumper with an offset license plate. And I'm bringing it up because we need to put an end to this right now.
And actually Porsche is selling this solution. You can get this solution at the dealership. That little post comes out of the tow hole.
I don't like it. No,
I don't like it either.
I want it to
disturbing.
Stop. Look, this is about when you look at the front of a car. Go look at the front of a car right now. You see symmetry, right? You see balance. You see left and right. And I know what you're thinking. Like, how can I drill a hole in the front of my bumper? And I want you to just trust my experience here for 30 years. I've been here. I've had this ticket. There's no way out of this one. You look so stupid when you put that pole off the side. It looks so bad coming down the road. And think about it, that's all you're doing is driving this car, and you don't want to drill two holes, and instead you want to look stupid to everybody?
I got a couple of suggestions.
No, wait. I just want to finish. It's okay to drill your front bumpers. It's okay. Drill the holes. Put the license plate there. It will be fine. It doesn't look so bad. This worry over drilling a hole. I have, Zuckerman, and I think maybe it could even be your Tangerine. No, that doesn't have a license plate holder. But no. I have drilled old 911s and put the front plate holder on it and been fine.
Plugs.
And the old Ferraris have holes where they came out of the factory where you can put on that bracket. You know, my GTC4, the Ferrari, had a clasp, custom clasp that someone made behind the grill. But again, it centered the plate, and you could take it off when you showed the car. This pole out of your cheek of the front of the car has to stop. You look dumb.
The only way it looks good is if you're riding a chopper, and then you can have an offset license plate. Other than that, the only reason to do it this way is so you can get your fix-it ticket signed off, and then you take it off.
Then you take it off, right.
And then you get another ticket. But
it's as bad as, to me, the Lyft eyebrows. Remember the eyelashes for Lyft drivers that came out? They put them over the headlights. To me, it's like one of them fell off and there's just one left. You look so stupid. You've got this Miami Blue Panamera GTS, this beautiful car, and then this weird pipe hanging out of it. I don't know. It's making me really angry that you're making these choices.
I like it. I like that your OCD is flared up.
Really flared up, yeah. It's upsetting because it's an OCD choice not to drill the hole in the bumper, right? Yeah. But you just do it. Go get your drill. I did it to my Range Rover Sport the other day, and I just drilled right into the plastic, put the screws in. Guess what? No tickets. Nobody says anything. Nobody cares. But I don't look stupid. I don't look stupid, and your Panamera is not going to be worth anything anyway, so drill a bunch of holes in it.
That makes me laugh.
Drill a hole right into the door and put it right on your driver's
we're talking
side
about wasting
door.
your time. Picking fly shit out of pepper.
Yeah, I admire your choice, sir, in Beverly Hills, the Miami Blue Panamera GTS, but not your choice. Anyway, Zuckerman, I'm going to ruin your life right now. And I feel bad about it because you're in a good mood. I can tell you're happy. You were traveling this weekend.
I was in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
I expected you to be angry that you were traveling this weekend, but
angry.
You've arrived happy. Why?
Well, okay. There was a moment. I'm in Cherry Hill, and it's like, imagine this. The whole place looks like Catella Boulevard.
I know that place, yeah.
It's just one long strip mall that goes on forever on various routes and turnpikes, but I am skinny there. I am a skinny person. Everyone there is a fat fuck. They're ginormous. It's like size XXL Tommy Bahama shirts to cover up your beer keg of a stomach. And so I was like, hey, take a look at me. I was like, check me out.
Wow.
Now, it wouldn't last because the food there is delicious and leaves you hungry. You can have a 5,000-calorie meal and be hungry in 10 minutes after it's done. So within 30 days, I'd be wearing a XXL Tommy Bahama shirt to cover my stomach. But for the moment I was there, I was skinny.
Wow. That must have been nice.
It was very nice. Now, trust me.
I want to move there.
Even if I was fat, I'd still have more game than most of the people there. But
I don't know. New Jersey's pretty tough. You know, Wally lives nearby, right? In Livingston, New Jersey, my brother.
We should do a show there and just comment on the people. It would be cruel. It would be mean, but it would be a lot of fun.
Why are, with that, and it's oft been joked about for decades, but why, with such proximity to New York City, why are the New York... sometimes I look at New Yorkers and I listen to them and I think, that if you told me he was from New Jersey, I might just believe that too, right?
Here's the deal.
Is it just the label?
New York's like a drain, and it pulls in all of the water, and just like in your tub, there's a little eddy where like all of the scum and the hair gets stuck over on the side, and it doesn't get pulled down. It is not influenced. It's
Right.
stuck over there.
And that's New Jersey?
That's New Jersey. Now, I will tell you, the food's fucking delicious, and the people are very nice. Don't
People
get me
are
wrong.
always great. Whenever I visit
people are
Wally
nice.
and Livingston, I
But
love it there.
I
It's
saw
lovely.
like people coming in. They're large. They're happy. They're going to sit down for a giant steak meal with big fried onion rings, and then finish it off with lava cake and an ice cream sundae. And they're grossly obese, but they're happy. The husband and wife have been to the same beauty parlor. They have the same helmet hair. It's just one of those places.
Wow. Well, that's good, Zuckerman. I'm glad. Well, why were you there? What were you
my
doing?
mother lives there now. My mother got pulled out of New York City to live close to my sisters because she's ailing and she's getting older. So that's a good place for them.
Come here, Paulie. How you doing, son? Does she talk like that?
No, but she
Give me the money, Paulie.
There's a little bit.
Get your own money, Ma. Stay away from me.
She's a refined lady, but you can imagine I packed really light for the weekend. And so on Sunday, I was wearing the same thing she saw me in on Saturday.
Right.
And she said, didn't pack too much, did you? That's just a very East Coast
It's good
way.
to see you too, Ma.
Yeah.
Smack. Don't you hit me, Ma. Shut up, son.
Yeah. You didn't overpack, did you?
Thank God for our moms. Well, not to stress you even more, I drove a car. Mr. Seinfeld was in over the weekend.
That's what's going to ruin my world.
We were gifting him our gift, which that's why Joe Rivello's here. We're going to get into that in a minute. But while I was there, I drove a car, this 4-cam Carrera 2 GS cab, I believe.
He had that car with an excellent restorer by the name of Jim Rinker.
That was with Jim Rinker. Now, he said, why didn't you guys respond? He texted us a picture. I didn't even know he had this car, and I wasn't sure what I was looking at, and then I was off doing something else. But the car, I drove it, Zuckerman. I drove this car.
Now, tell me, this is the last Carrera 2 Cabriolet ever made?
Yes. And I swear
does
he
he
said it
get
was a
shit-
65,
How does
but
he
I
get
thought they
shit like this?
stopped making it in 64. Did they make them in 65?
okay,
And it's dolphin gray with a navy blue interior. Is that what color it is?
I thought it was. I couldn't really tell in the picture, so I'm going to text him.
It's a gray. It's a beautiful gray.
I'm glad that neither of us caught it and responded, because that's it's rare for Jerry has these little things, and it could be dolphin gray with a blue top, and it's nice for us to inadvertently ignore his victory.
Well, I get in it, Zuckerman. I immediately noticed the way the doors closed.
Did they close perfectly?
It didn't even. It was so smooth and clunk. It was the
Did
whole.
It make that
this
little
car.
ding?
No, it didn't. It was even better. It was beyond ding, and the 4-cam is so fully sorted in this car. The car is so intoxicatingly beautiful in and out. And then when I drove it, I lost my mind. Just imagine. I know. This is hard.
You have to describe my reaction. It's miserable.
Yeah, his head is in his hands, and it's painful. And I said to Jerry, I'm very happy Zuckerman's not here, because I'm going to be depressed for a good 24 hours. This is what? It's probably $1 million car, right?
Easy. No, maybe more.
When you drive it, it's so perfectly sorted and modern, compared to the speedsters in the late 50s. Yeah. You notice the window crank that perfectly rolls down and up the window.
Development of the 356.
But Zuckerman, this car is what Jim Renker did to it. It's so perfect. You couldn't, if you drive this, you won't be able to live without it. It is a perfect summer vacation. It's a perfect one-car collection. It's a perfect everything. And then, at the end of it, we were at the airport. I pulled it in front of the hangar, and I said, let's turn the radio on. And the radio didn't go on, right?
Thank God.
And I went, thank God, exactly.
Thank God something's not right.
And as I opened the door, the radio turned on, and Jerry goes, oh, yeah, the tubes, they need to warm up. And I went, fuck, it's perfect. It was a car delivered perfect. Do you know how rare that is?
Rinker does one car at a time.
He works out of his garage.
And his wife sells birds, right?
She does?
Yes.
Rinker birds?
If you call to the house to speak to Jim, you will get an answering machine. The wife's voice, she's got a charming, charming lady, and you can hear birds squawking in the background. And apparently she sells birds, and he does one car at a time, and they live like East County. So I think in East San Diego County somewhere, and they've got this little gig going. She's got the birds, he's got the Porsches.
So these cars began, 1963, and sold for close to $5,000.
Oh, that's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
But the Carrera 2 has the most advanced 4-cam engine that they put in a 356, barring the occasional 904.
Do you know what that cost originally when you wanted to upgrade to the Carrera 2 engine?
What, did it cost an extra $1,000?
No, an extra $2,900, above the price of the S90.
That is a lot of money.
And, Zuckerman, these are birthier cars for us. I mean, you can't... This is the first thing I've driven without a top that it made me go, I will throw my Speedster into a crusher for this. It's just, you get in it, it's just perfection, Zuck. And all I'm going to say is,
can we get this out of him?
Huh?
Can we get this out of him?
No, I don't think we're going to get much out of him anymore. I think he's a little leery about giving stuff over and giving stuff back.
Really?
Because he seems to be in a mood where he wants the stuff back.
Well, is that in reference to anything I sold in particular?
No, not at all. No, it's just he was coveting Bill's VW bus down there.
Does
was
he
trying
want
to get that
the Tangerine RS back?
I think if you offered that to him, he would say no. But if you said, "Hey, should we?" I don't think that should ever leave our circle.
Never.
Let me put it that way.
I wouldn't.
And he's got a great RS. But,
if we said what? The three of us share it together?
That was his last proposition. And I said, what's the point of that? We're already sharing it now. Zuckerman will let us drive it. He's a very generous guy. We can drive it whenever we want. You want it? He'll throw it in your hangar for 2 weeks. No, that's fine. I think he just likes to know he can get it back. And
right.
Yeah. Anyway. It's just the beginning of the summer, and here we are in
I think
Spike's
he's
Car
going to
Radio.
go on a major acquisition binge.
On Spike's Car Radio, getting overheated about cars. It's funny. It's a seasonal thing. This is Zuckerman. You know how it feels in the fall and the winter. The whole market's falling apart.
We're fertile.
Springtime. Now it's summer, and we're all car crazy.
Will Hoyt, are you listening? Will Hoyt, finish my speedster.
He's not listening. But Will Hoyt is responsible for our next guest on the podcast, Joe Rivello, who's going to be coming here, walking in a moment to talk about taco mini bikes. We'll be right back with Spike's Car Radio. Let me tell you something. Did you know most people have no idea whether or not the motor oil they're using is good enough to protect their engine? Everybody's driving around not even caring about what's going on under the hood. Only one brand literally goes the extra mile to test everything, including ensuring they're the right motor oil for your car, and I'm talking about Valvoline. That's right, Valvoline is the only motor oil brand in the world with an engine lab completely dedicated to testing motor oil. Valvoline takes their products and their competitors, I might add, and runs them through the gauntlet. I'm talking thousands of miles. Then the engineers and technicians take those engines apart to evaluate exactly what happened. Please don't try this at home. Trust that Valvoline has done it for you. Was there carbon buildup? How did the seals hold up? Did the engine perform like it was supposed to? And most importantly, were the critical engine components protected? You don't know, but Valvoline does. So when Valvoline is formulating motor oil for your engine, they know exactly how it performs and what protects it best, because they've seen the results firsthand. It's why I trust Valvoline in my car, and it's why Valvoline has been trusted for more than 150 years. Head over to Valvoline.com/Spike to see what product is right for your engine. That's Valvoline.com/Spike.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
All right, we're back. You know, if you were live in the 60s, you might have had your first two-wheeled experience on a little metal frame with a Briggs & Stratton motor. We're talking mini bikes, and Zuckerman and I were chatting with John Wilhoit a while back, and he mentioned something. He said frijoles and taco mini bikes.
He said he couldn't even afford it. He was so poor, he couldn't get a taco. He had to have a frijol.
And we said, and the show just screeched to a halt. And
we're
we
like,
said,
what?
What are you talking about? Tacos, frijoles, and this whole world of mini bikes that I believe were advertised in the back of comic books, and suddenly it all came flying back into my head, in the Spider-Man and the Richie Rich comics, and that little, and even the Sears and Roebuck mini bikes. Well, out here in the West Coast, there was a mini bike company called Taco Mini Bikes. They were founded by a fella by the name of, what's his name?
John Steen.
John Steen, right, who was a protege of a fella named Steve McQueen and Bud Eakins. This is right around the time that you and I were born, Zuckerman. They created mini bikes called the Taquito, the Burrito, the Frijole, and they did so between the years 1963 and 1971.
The golden age of mini bikes.
Golden age.
It was.
And then our next guest, Joe Rivello, who's sitting here with us right now, decided to be an entrepreneur, and he said, you know what? I'm going to make these things right now. I'm going to sell them to people here in the United States. And guess what? He's here in our studio to tell us how we did that. Joe, how are you, my friend?
Great. Good to be here.
It's nice to have you here. Joe and Zuckerman and I have been talking over the last 2 months because Joe built a custom taco mini bike for Jerry Seinfeld's 65th birthday. With a special taco mini bike seat with a 65 on the back, serial number 009. I drove the bike yesterday. I rode it.
And you got my email a day late.
I got your email on how to start it and everything. It was so easy to start that my 9-year-old started it. Jerry wanted James to start it up. 2 pulls, boom. And he's a little guy, right? He could barely do it. It just jammed right on. And these things are fast.
They are.
Now, I didn't know that till I read your instructions at the bottom. It said, put a helmet on and be careful. It's not a mini bike like a mini bike, lean forward over the front. This thing took off. And I'm guessing what you built for Jerry is not also the normal engined mini bike either.
So the package that we built for Jerry people can get that.
Okay.
We did some of the trivia things, the 65, the 009.
Right.
Kind of in honor of the show and him and what you were looking for the gift thing.
Yes.
But the bike itself, it's got a Predator 212 motor.
A Predator.
I'm telling you.
It's like a drone. It's going to blow you out of the water.
I've almost eaten shit twice on a mini bike in the last 3 weeks. My Coleman was not working right, and Sonny Nutter's got it, but it wasn't going, and then suddenly it just took off, and my kids were laughing, and I almost killed myself. And then this thing, the same thing. Before we get into that bike, because I feel like I've taken us ahead of where we are.
Okay.
When did you start this company and why?
Well, not to go too far back, but as a kid, I grew up with mini biking.
And where was that? Here?
In Southern California, Norwalk, California.
Got it.
And at that time, my parents were very encouraging of me, very competitive. We raced. They wanted me to race motorcycles. So as a young kid, my dad and I, it was a family thing, and we raced. Fortunately, in one of our classes, we won a national championship in 1974.
But were you racing?
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Were you racing dirt bikes?
Yes. Yeah.
So did you know Sonny Nutter?
I've Sonny Nutter very well from Speedway.
Everybody knows Sonny Nutter.
But I grew up with Kelly. Listen, it's a small world. Kelly and Sean Moran grew up right behind me. Sonny Nutter was from Speedway fame.
Mm-hmm.
I was at Friday Night Speedway at Costa Mesa every Friday night for years. I can go there right now and see the same guys standing in turn 2. Wow. So it's...
and how old are you when you starting racing? And why were your parents...
I was 13.
You were 13. And why did your parents encourage that when most parents are saying, stay off these things?
Well, there was 2 types of parents. There were those who said, you're going to kill yourself. Maybe mine wanted me to kill myself. I don't know. But my mom and dad were very encouraging. Let's go out and race and win.
Wow. And did your mom and dad also ride?
My dad did.
Your dad did?
Yeah.
Wow.
But my mom just, no. And they're still alive, kicking around, doing great. And
what kind of bikes was your dad riding? Off-road or?
Yes, we were running to dirt.
Wow.
Strictly motocross.
That's great.
Yeah.
Wow, what a dad.
Right?
Imagine that, Zuckerman.
Yes.
These were the people I was jealous of, This is why I wanted to move to California. I wanted a dad.
Yes.
I wanted a dirt bike ride. I wanted to do
And
all that.
currently with Taco, there are only 2 types of people who want one. Those kids who parents wouldn't let them have one.
Right.
And those who had one and want anher one.
Right.
So that's just the
I'm
way
in
it
that
goes.
category.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the way it works. So
again, that's racing motorcycles. Where does Taco figure into this?
So by the time I got into racing, mini bikes have become extinct. I mean, they were a subculture, but as anything, it's kind of like the horse and buggy being replaced by cars and going on and on. Same thing with the mini bike. The mini bike, the Taco, was replaced by the Honda Mini Trail.
Right.
The Mini Trail was replaced by the Mini Enduro. The Mini Enduro by the XR75. And from there on, it was off to the races to what we see today.
Right.
So I've got 3 boys. My buying Taco was... I wanted one. I didn't want a company. I just wanted one.
This is good. I like
So
this.
what happened was my 3 little boys, they had little KTMs, KX65s, Kawasaki's, and I had a little collection of bikes that I had in my garage that I had when I was a kid. I mean, I'd bought and restored. And I said, I'm missing a mini bike. And my youngest said, well, like what we have, Dad? I go, no, you guys have real motorcycles. They're just small.
Right.
No, mine. And so we went on, of course, of all places, eBay, looked up Taco, and I said, that's what I had. And they go, wow, that's cool. So I started calling guys or emailing guys online about tacos. And some guy said, I think the company's for sale. Now,
what year is this?
06.
06. Okay. So the company's for sale, but they stopped making bikes in 71?
Well, I'm going to tie in Sonny Nutter to this. Okay.
This is insane.
So a good friend of mine, Gene Woods.
Yeah.
Do you know?
I don't.
Okay.
No.
Rick Woods. They're all national champions Speedway. They're all very close friends. Gene had resurrected Taco some 20 years ago.
Okay.
Approximately. And he had it for a short time and then sold it to a gentleman in Texas who the gentleman in Texas, I don't think, realized really what he had.
Yeah.
So I think he took something and it just crashed and burned.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a distinctly Southern California phenomena, Taco. Would you say so?
But known throughout the country, though.
Yes, but here was its birthplace, its roots.
Alhambra.
Yes.
So how does Sonny Nutter tie into this?
Well, no. Well, the only point is Gene Woods, the gentleman who resurrected it, is very close friends with Sonny Nutter.
Got it.
I'm just saying that there's a...
So it's in Texas. It's going nowhere.
It went nowhere. I finally, some gentleman says, hey, I think there's a gentleman in Texas who has it, and I think he wants to sell it. I go, well, okay. So
what exactly are you buying at that point? Just the name? Or
yeah.
Is there...
For the most part, I bought the name and trademark, the legal through the USPTO.
Okay.
And some fixtures, and that was it. I bought the legal rights to the bike, to the brand.
I got it.
But there's no parts, there's no machine tools, there's no...
I got some old fixtures that needed to be redone, and that's where it started.
So you can just start making these bikes, and that's how it goes. And now, take us through... I'm guessing the lineup isn't that big, right? You've got the... Go through the models. So I know you have the littlest guy is the Frajole, right?
Correct. So the Frajole, which is a kit, comes in kit form.
Right.
People could build that.
But I looked at that on the website. It's tacominibikes.com, right? And
yes.
There's no engine with that kit. Like, I was going to order one because, my little guy lost his mind when he saw this build and was like, why are you giving something to the world's richest comedian? Why am I not getting this?
Yes.
Right?
Good question.
And then I thought, the bike you made is just way too fast for him, but I want a Frajole. So how do you build that Frajole?
Well,
you
would order it as a kit, and for the most part, we tell people when they get that one, it's probably for a more experienced builder, only in the sense that you've got to understand what motor you're going to use, what brake system you want to use, certain things. Whereas the next model, the 22, it's a kit form, and it can be bought assembled or as a kit.
Okay. And I could put my 9 and 11-year-old on it.
Yeah, you'd put a little... And Briggs has come out with a new motor.
Are these original designs? Did you somehow get the plans for the old stuff? How does this relate to the original stuff?
So the 22 is, for the most part, identical to what was built in the 60s.
How did you have plans? Or
No, we just...
Reverse engineered?
Yeah, we get old frames, and just went from there. Yeah, reverse engineered
The taquito. They have a taquito, a burrito. Is there a refried beans?
What about chimichanga?
No, what?
The chimichanga.
No chimichanga yet?
No.
What the Spikes Car Radio chimichanga, Zuckerman. We could design that.
Could we design one that shoots flames out of it?
This one that Jerry has kind of does. It's so fast. So you bring these back. Who buys them? Like, the funny thing, it's so funny because I'm in this mini bike world because I just got this Coleman 6 months ago. Sorry. And you ride it once.
Sorry.
And what?
He said sorry.
I know. It's horrible, right? It's like, to me.
It serves a purpose, though.
You know what it's like? It's like driving a Weber grill from Home Depot on wheels. That's what it feels like. Just stick with the grills. Don't make mini bikes. Yeah. But whatever. It's fun. And you go for a ride and you blast off and you come back. And they did the same thing on yours. And you go, this is amazing, but what's my usage for this? Because I live in the city, right? So when someone's buying these things, if I were at my friend's joint in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, I go, well, now I've got what I need. At the airport, we're like, well, this is a perfect kind of Santa Monica airport conveyance to go back and forth from office to hangar.
Yes.
What do your buyers do with these bikes? Because damn, they're fast.
They do everything, and every person on every walk of life buys them. We're shipping 4 right now that were ordered out of the embassy out of the D.C. for the UAE.
Right.
So we don't know what their plans are, but
they're tacos in the UAE.
They're pretty far away from Alhambra.
Yeah. You know what? A lot of people will buy them because they ride them in their communities. I mean, just around their private tracks.
Are they street legal?
They're not street legal.
They're not street legal. Although the odd thing is you see people riding them, and the cops don't do anything. But I'm not condoning it, but it's odd.
Right.
But they're not street legal. They never were back then. They're the same as they are then as they are now. They're not. So
this bike you built for Jerry is probably the most original spec, right? It's royal purple metal flake, which is what the original bikes came.
This bike here, the one that Jerry has, is by far the most popular.
Right.
And it's a newer design, one we developed about 7, 8 years ago.
But that's the period correct color for it,
Yeah,
right?
well, it is a color that purple is the color known on tacos.
Okay.
The color that was on the original bikes back in the 60s was the plum crazy purple.
Plum crazy purple.
Yeah, which is on the
Roadrunners and stuff.
yes. And you know what? When we did those couple, honestly, it
didn't look right.
It just didn't.
It's
the
dull.
color,
It's too dull looking.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the color that you have when it's out in the sun, it just it's
no.
purple.
When you look at this, when we looked at this bike, I felt like I was 12 years old again. And I was guessing, that's what your buyer is thinking when they see these things. You're buying a piece of your childhood back and something you may not have gotten as a kid. And when you get on it, you feel like that, Zuckerman. It's unreal.
Yeah, there was a guy in my neighborhood, Ricky LaFond, had one of these, and he was the cool kid. Ricky LaFond. Hey, that's Ricky LaFond's coming. And he was like, he might have.
That's funny. I had one too, Ricky Freitas.
Right.
But
yeah,
two
we
Rickies.
I was 8, he was 9, and he was like, he's cool. He's got a mini bike.
Yeah.
And my parents were not letting me anywhere near something like that, and I wanted to be Ricky LaFond.
Yeah.
And that's,
Well, tell us about these specs here before I'm going to try to pull them up. But this is not your average mini bike motor, right? Is it too?
No, and the bike that you have, that Jerry has, is not your average mini bike, mini cycle. It's just not. And the bike is constantly evolving. We're constantly trying to improve it. The bike from when we first designed it to where it is today has changed a lot. Like I don't know what Jerry thought when he opened the thing and saw it sitting there.
Okay, so he was playing Vegas Saturday night, right? And then I knew he would fly and get in around midnight, right? And I positioned it by his door where he comes into his hangar. So when he opened the door, it would be sitting there under a light with a little card on it that said "Happy 95th Birthday." Dopey little CVS birthday card joke. And he just went, WTF. What am I looking at? And sent us both a text that night. Oh my God,
it's
of him
amazing.
sitting on it. And the following morning we went for a drive, and we showed up there around noon, and we started the thing up and drove it, and he lost his mind. We both lost our minds. It's an incredible and powerful little
it is
device that rides like a real motorcycle almost, or as fast as one.
But you've got a great mini bike seating position, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's the look over the handlebars bent up like this, and the little tire. It's deceptively comfortable. But, and as he blasted off down Santa Monica along the runway, I turned to James and went, well, we got to find a helmet for this guy.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know it went that fast. And it goes.
So on that particular bike, the motor that's on it is probably the most popular motor in the country.
Which is what?
It's the Predator 212.
Okay. And who makes that?
It actually comes out of Harbor Freight. And we were building the bikes originally with Hondas, and you can't. Honda's everything great, but the cost and the performance, the nod went to the Predator. It's just there.
And what's the horsepower? Take us through.
So it's 6.5 horsepower stock, but on Jerry's bike,
much?
6.5.
That's it?
Yeah. But what we've done with Jerry's is we've put it's stripped. When you get it, it's going to be a black square cube.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And if you notice, Jerry's is, we've dismantled, we've taken it all apart. On his right side, we had the shroud painted to match the bike, purple. We've chromed the recoil. On the left side, we chromed the clutch cover that says Taco on it. We have we have a custom 11-inch tank that sits on top of them. We make the brackets of tanks.
That's beautiful. It's this chrome tank that's cylindrical in shape, and it's right there between your legs. It's nice, Zuckerman.
We've got our chromed intake manifold,
right,
with a 22 millimeter Cootie and a K&N air filter. We've got a unifilter.
What's up with the exhaust?
Oh, that's our Stinger exhaust system. That's big.
It's got everyth's named the way you want it to be, particularly when you're a kid.
Yeah, you just stare at this thing and you lose your
Stinger
mind.
Exhaust, man. Yeah.
Well, it does suck. That's what we were saying. We're like, what? We didn't know it was a Stinger exhaust. We were just staring at it going, that is the coolest exhaust we've ever seen. Now, keep in mind, this thing is arriving at the same time as the 4Cam, by the way.
Right.
And it's stealing all the attention. This little mini bike. Isn't that crazy? Think about that.
I'm going to tell you, when we did Chip Foose,
right,
name drop, called me and said, hey, let's do a mini bike for his son, which it never got to his son. It stayed with him. But we brought that bike to SEMA. And he goes, you need to come out here because I want you here with the bike and all and talk. And it's got out on front of his thing, two probably $1 million cars that he hand built. And I'm telling you, people were swarming around this little mini bike and they forgot about the cars. It's because it's so small. I don't know what it is.
It's just it's
evocative.
It reminds us. Did this become a full-time job for you?
Well, yeah, it has. I dedicated more time to. I'm a real estate broker by profession. That's what I've done my whole life. But it has kind of taken over things. Yeah.
Right.
So a real estate broker, Zuckerman.
He's in real estate and he ends up with tacos.
I don't see these two things as alike. They don't make sense to me.
There's no Venn diagram. They don't overlap.
The second I had you on the phone, I was like, of course you're the mini bike guy. You're the taco mini bike guy. Well, we want to help you sell these because they're the greatest thing in the world. But how many of these can you crank out? Because I already I need to get another one.
I need one for me.
He needs one.
Well, so you would want the Friuli is cool, but for your sons, your kids, you really would want the 22.
Yes.
Paul, you got to get 100. You got to get the big boy.
Yeah.
Zuckerman, you'll lose it when you drive this thing.
Only because if you sit on a 22,
right,
you're on a mini bike.
Well, what colors can we get in these
Any
things?
color your mind can imagine.
Really?
Yeah.
And what are your most popular colors? Because orange, like the Schwinn orange crate is
that's
pretty neat.
huge purple. That's hugely popular.
Okay.
Orange is probably besides purple, probably the most popular color.
Yeah. Yep. That would be good. Wow.
Yeah.
Anything 60s, right? And we're bringing back the 60s with these colors. Now, would this be, going to the 100, am I losing the mini bike experience? Am I going too far?
No. Because what we did was we kept the look of the taco. It's a taco.
Right.
But like Spike said, when you sit on it, it's deceiving because you're a big guy. Right. If you sit on a 22, you're going to feel like you're on a mini bike. You sit on the 100, and it's oddly comfortable. Right. I mean, you don't feel like you're on a mini bike. You're kind of somewhere between a motorcycle and a mini bike. So.
How much is that going to set me back?
They start at $1,995 and can go as much as $4,000.
Right.
And you pick the options. So
wow.
Right.
They're amazing, Zuckerman.
Now, for Jerry, if we need to get him a helmet, can we get it painted the same color?
He's got helmets. I just know we need to get one on his head
but I'm wondering,
moment.
But if you're going to drive the taco that's in the purple, would the purple helmet with the same?
Oh, absolutely. When he came back, I said, look, let's get to work on eBay getting you a 60s purple helmet open face.
Could you do the helmet?
We could probably work on... I would contact some people I know through, and maybe we can hook up with Troy Lee.
Who's that?
Oh, well, huge name in the world of Troy Lee Designs. But somebody like that, we could probably have them do the helmet, the paint to match and everything. We could look into that.
Right.
This is good. Wow, this is amazing. And there's no plans to get into go-karts, right? You're not.
No, we get some. But no, honestly, this is hard enough as it is.
Let's ruin his life. Let's get a checklist of everything we didn't have in the 60s and get Joe to fulfill it.
Well, this is like, I'm thinking back to that really horrible version in the Sears and Roebuck catalog. Remember we were talking to Pat Dempsey about unicycles?
Right.
Sears and Roebuck made everything, right?
Yeah.
And they also had the go-kart and they had that horrible mini bike. But nothing that looks like this, and nothing that rides like the taco that he's building right here.
Well,
They're really insane.
You wish when you were a kid you had something that looked like. There's nothing there that looked like.
No one could touch you in this thing if you had this as a kid. The tacos they made back then were not like these. These things. How do you? Here's another question I had for you after I wrote it. Are you? It appears that you're wary about the hot parts of the exposed motor too. Like at no point did I feel like my legs were going to burn off on this thing if I wore shorts.
That's why you have.
Well, there's nothing there that is exposed. So on the left side, your clutch is covered by that chrome cover.
Right.
On the right side, there's really nothing that's hot because the carburetor, the intake manifold, that gets hot. The only thing that would get hot would be the exhaust, which is tucked up underneath the seat on the left side of the bike.
Right.
And the motor's pretty well contained in the middle of the bike, so there's nothing there.
Why was it double chain driven? Why did you have the drive shaft connected to the chain
jack shaft?
Yeah.
So we've got the clutch going to. There's a shaft in the middle called a jack shaft, which is a pivot point in the bike. Unlike a motorcycle, it's required because in order for there to be suspension in the rear, we had to put the jack shaft in there.
Okay.
Because if the chain were on the rear sprocket, I'd love to do that, but if the chain were going from the clutch to the rear sprocket, when the bike would when you'd hit something, the chain would loosen,
right,
and then and it could chance
it back in the day. So you've got a rear suspension on the Taco?
Oh, it's full suspended, front and rear.
So
front and rear.
So it's not like an old
Coils.
Harley hardtail.
No.
It's amazing.
Now, was the original Taco? Did it have suspension?
Well, if you want to call it that, I mean, everything back then was all relative. Not like what's on there today.
Right.
Everything like on Jerry's bike. The handlebars are chrome moly. We CNC our own handlebar clamps. Everything on that bike, for the most part, we make most of it. We use Motion Pro controls. Our cables are custom made by Flanders. Everything is done really well for the bike.
Ned Flanders.
And it's got this. Look, there you go. It's got the little stand that you lift the bike up and put it on.
Wow, I am so blown
away. Look at how
away.
beautiful this
so
is.
So that's
Zuckerman.
not. Is that 100? Is that one?
That's the 100.
Oh, okay.
And that's just a model name.
Now, Zuckerman, look at the exhaust right there.
That's the Stinger.
Look at the gas tank, the chrome tank. I mean, it's so shiny. This thing is and look what's right behind it, a 935. Right?
Okay, now,
and
Joe,
it's equal. It's the same kind of eye candy. You're looking at both.
Joe, were you known for your aesthetics in life? You don't how did you get good at making something cool looking? Did you always have a flair for design?
Well, I wouldn't say that. I've worked with some people that have helped me a lot with that. But what's happened, I've got a partner, Dave Robinson, who's great. And we collaborate a lot on things. And this bike, like I said, it's constantly evolving into what it is. It didn't look like that at all 7 or 8 years ago. It's evolved to that.
Do your kids like the Taco?
They love Taco. They love Taco.
How old are they now?
24, 26, 28.
Are they involved in any way?
Well, they're involved. If I need them, they're there. But they're all busy with work and school.
Right.
But they're my youngest, Sean. Actually, they're all, if they're needed, and
Are they committed to Taco going into another generation?
I don't know about that. I don't know if it takes a little bit of lunacy to do this. You know what I mean?
Right. It's a passion. It's a passion
Well, that's
project.
what's fun about it.
But
lunacy. That's the whole mini bike thing is lunacy. It's all craziness. I really, you're buying back a piece of your childhood.
When we weren't worried about safety, when we were just, and I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's unsafe, but we just had different values.
There's a very good customer of mine out in Scottsdale.
And when you say that, you're implying he buys more than one
Well,
Taco mini bike.
He's chipped back, very wealthy.
How many? Who is your biggest collector of tacos, and how many does he have?
I would probably. There's a couple of them, but they've got 7 of those.
7. I want to meet the taco collectors. This is excellent.
He's got 6 figures of tacos in his garage.
And he eats at Taco Bell.
But the gentleman who's in Scottsdale, he's got his new Ford GT. Paid $500,000 for it.
Of course.
2017.
No, yeah.
And he couldn't wait to get this. And all he talks about
see
is
what's
this.
happening?
Yeah, because it scratches the same itch.
It does. Well, it does.
Yeah.
And he says it takes you from 0 to 10 in 5 seconds.
Right. And now the foremost Porsche collector in the world has one in his garage, thanks to you and Zuckerman and I. Joe, this has been great.
I appreciate
the whole
it.
journey has been fantastic. The resulting birthday gift it exceeded expectations. Seinfeld has lost his mind over it. I wrote it. I lost my mind. I'm ready to jump
Paul's
in
got to lose his mind.
for number 2. He'll be handling all the cases that result from the accidents when I take this on the 405 one day, because I know it can keep up with traffic.
You split lanes.
You guys have to check out Joe Rivello's shop. It's www.tacominibikes.com and check these things out. They're really much better than they were back in the 60s. This is a new thing.
Thanks, guys.
And I approve. And now, Zuckerman, we have to pay Joe, and we got to get him out of here. We owe him for. We're going to give him the money right here.
I know you said
in the studio.
You said 7 times. Bring your money. I said,
Bring your money.
I'm going to Welsh on you.
We got to pay
I'm a Welsher.
When we return, my friends, we will be on the phone with Steve Torrence, drag racer, who's nominated for Best Driver of the Year at the 2019 ESPYs. We'll be right back. Think of all the weird things you find in cars. You know what I find in the cars I share with Zuckerman? Weird green teas and lots of Mentos. And I'm not just talking about those things. I'm also talking about live snakes. It happens. Bizarre trinkets, the kind of stuff that just makes you wonder about folks. The way I wonder about Zuckerman. Another thing that will make you wonder, but in a good way, are Continental belts. Bet you didn't know they're OE in tens of millions of Chrysler, Dodge, and Ford GM vehicles that roll off the assembly line. They're also OE on the majority of BMWs and BWs. Now Continental is launching the aftermarket multi-V belt with the OE pedigree. It's their OE technology series. Belts that are fanatically engineered for perfect fit, form, and function. And Continental has the OE Technology Series Multi-V belt for 98% of vehicles on the road in U.S. and Canada. Think about that, folks. 98%. Hey, you get enough surprises working on cars and trucks. A belt shouldn't be one of them. Go with Continental OE Technology Series Multi-V belts, the belt with the OE pedigree. To get the full story, visit oetechnologyseries.com.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
All right, we're back. And Zuckerman, hey, look at this. New sponsor. We've got Valvoline coming on Spike's Car Radio.
Nice. Founded in 1924.
How do you know that off the top of your head?
I made it up.
They're the only motor oil with dedicated engine lab where they're able to run specialized engine tests, standardized engine tests right in their own facility. This allows scientists more freedom and flexibility to innovate. I love the sponsors supporting Spike's Car Radio. I know it must be a drag maybe at home because we're having more commercials, but we're trying to give you more show. We're going to have Steve Torrence on in a moment. If you've noticed, the shows are getting a little longer. And that's to make sure that you're taken care of because the folks at Valvoline also want you to be happy. They just want you to use their oil.
They reached out to us from Covington, Kentucky.
All Valvoline oils exceed industry standards to provide the ultimate protection for every engine on the road. And you're right, since its founding over 150 years ago, Zuckerman. Valvoline, welcome to Spike's Car Radio. We love you like we love all of our sponsors. Welcome to the fun. All right, on the phone with us right now, Zuckerman, is a driver who's been nominated as one of the best drivers of 2019 for the ESPY Awards, which are coming up Wednesday, July 10th. We have Steve Torrence on. Steve, are you there?
I am here, guys. I'm here and ready to go. What's up?
I love it. You know, you're the first drag racer to ever be on Spike's Car Radio.
Well, how about that crap, man? Isn't that pretty good? I'm a straight line special guy hanging out with you guys.
Zuckerman, 36 career wins, 54 career final rounds. This guy regularly travels at over 333 miles an hour in a straight line. These are the big ones.
At rest, his heart rate is 20 per minute.
Steve, you know, this is mostly a Porsche podcast hosted by a comedy writer and a lawyer. So just fill us and everyone listening in on exactly what class you race and what you're racing here in these drag races.
Well, first and foremost, I'm a Porsche guy myself.
Yes, sir.
I have two GT2 RSs. I have the 10 model and then the 19 model.
Baller. This man knows, a connoisseur.
Yes. So you like that car because it's just stupidly fast, right?
It is. And so the one that my dad and I both have one from 2010.
What a car.
And the engineer signed them, and, they call those things the Beast.
Yes.
And so underneath the hood, we've got the signature from the engineer, and
wow.
Pretty neat, pretty special. Was able to go down to West Palm and pick those things up and spend a day on the track with them, and I'll tell you what, man, it definitely makes you realize why you're a drag racer when you start making laps in one of those things.
Yeah. Wow. So you know, a lot of guys, I've talked to a lot of racers before, they prefer something a little normal on the street, not something as extreme as a race car, but you're not that way.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't get to drive the thing a whole lot. I drive a dadgum either a 1-ton dually or a Ford Raptor most of the time. But
I love Raptors.
To go back and answer your question, I am a top fuel dragster driver. We continually and weekendly run over 325, 330 miles per hour in 1,000 feet. We don't race a quarter of a mile in top fuel or funny car anymore, because of some of the tracks that we go to. The racing surface is not long enough to slow down and stop the cars safely. So we shortened the distance
considerably,
320 feet.
Yeah.
And, you know, Zuckerman, we just had the founder of Taco Mini Bikes on. And when I think of the 60s and early 70s, I think of drag racing, right? When you were a kid cars, and the wide world of sports on Sunday, it's the only thing I would wait for on that show was the drag racing.
It was exciting, yes.
Yeah. And how much has it changed since then? Like, you know, has it gotten safer? Has it gotten more extreme since the 60s and 70s?
Well, it's definitely gotten quicker and faster. So, yeah, I mean, it is a lot safer. You know, at the end of the day, you are still going 330 miles an hour, and we're not designed to do that.
As humans.
It's a lot safer than what you would think. I mean, first and foremost, there's only two of us. We're both going the same direction, and nobody has a cell phone. So it's a lot safer than driving down the highway by any means.
That's right.
And we wear 20-layer Nomex fire suits, all either SFI or FIA rated safety apparel. And so I would much rather have a wreck in one of these than I would going down the highway in a just a passenger car. So I've had a pretty bad wreck. I hit the wall going 330, really 327, I think, and was still able to win that round on a hole shot a couple years ago. So
how did you feel after that?
About an hour later.
Yeah, my wife got a concussion at an accident at 15 miles an hour in a Prius. And you're saying you just hit a wall,
and an hour later you were back in the car?
Yeah, we pulled the other car. So we won that round. We pulled the spare car down, got it out, got it ready to go, and went back up there and raced again. I think that, you know, you're still in shock when that happens, so everything seems like a good idea. And after the fact, it probably wasn't. But, I mean, it was kind of like, you know, I got a little bit of cowboy heritage, and you can't get off that horse and get bucked off and not get back on. You got to go turn right around and get back on him.
Wow. How did you get into this? How old were you when you started doing this?
I've been drag racing since I was 15 years old, and I'm 36 now. So 2/3 of my life I've been driving a race car.
Wow. How do you get into drag racing at 15? I missed that, Zuckerman. When you were 15, did you get that? No. that calling? Let's get into drag racing.
I guess you follow your father into it. My father smoked. I picked up cigarettes.
I had me too, exactly. Winston's. Is there a drag racing track in New Hampshire in Seekonk? I thought I remembered hearing about that. But how did you get into it?
So, just like what you said, my dad drag raced as I was growing up, and we did it as a family. And then it was just a natural progression. I mean, I raced motocross before I drag raced, and my dad did that with me. And as I got old enough to drive and warm the car up at the races, and you know, just kind of helped work on them, well, then I really showed some interest in wanting to drive and had an opportunity to race with him. And so that's really what got the ball rolling as far as me wanting to be a drag racer. And it's probably the worst thing you could ever do, because I don't know anything that's more addicting.
Yeah, right. I would imagine so. It's addicting to watch. You have now. Again, I apologize. I don't know much about drag racing. What your season, I'm guessing, is like a traditional racing season in that it starts in spring and maybe ends toward the end of summer.
No, we have a much different season. We start the second week of February, and we go to the second or third week of November.
That's a
we have
long
very,
season.
very short off season.
And how many races in a season?
24 races in a season. More often than not, it'll be a race every other weekend, and then throughout the summer months, like right now, we just come off a 4-race swing. We'll do 8 races in 10 weeks.
Wow.
And Zuckerman, listen to this. He's won 6 out of 12 of the first races of the 2019 season.
How long did it take for you to get this good? You're in 20 years now. So
He's won a full 50% of them.
Right. So was it always this way, or do you have to build up to this?
No, we started this race team in 2000, the end of 11, and really campaigned full time in 2012. The success goes back to the race team, because any team sport that you do, if your vehicle or your bike or whatever it is not prepared absolutely the best every time, and especially in drag racing, where at Top Fuel, we take the motor apart every lap. Wow. It goes to a block and a crank. It gets a new set of rods and pistons in it, a different set of cylinder heads, a different supercharger every time it goes down the racetrack. So any little mishap, any error that those guys make putting that engine back together, that's going to change the way that the crew chief tunes the car for the next round. And so if everything's not exactly the same and that engine behaves exactly like it's supposed to, then the car's not going to run the same. And we have to try to finesse and manage 11,000 horsepower and apply that power to the track without losing traction.
And now, is it true that you use Zambuca for fuel? No, I'm just kidding.
Alcohol.
Can you imagine, Zuckerman,
sir, we use nitromethane.
Delicious. If I put that in my GT2 RS, what would happen?
Nothing.
Every rod in it would come out.
Really? It would just explode. Zuckerman, why is it taking so long to get our engine rebuilt? And he's rebuilding his between races.
What do you do with the leftover parts?
So we'll pull the rods out. Not every one of them are bad. It's not that they go in the trash. Mm-hmm. But what will happen is they'll actually compress. They'll get shorter.
Wow.
Because of the amount of fuel that we're burning. We'll burn about 14 gallons of fuel in a run, and it's burning it very, very quickly. And we run about 68 to 72 pounds of boost.
Wow.
So you're forcing that in there and basically hydraulicking it to get it to fire. We have 2 spark plugs in every cylinder, 2 44-amp mags to fire it, 106 gallon per minute fuel pump. I mean, we're really the more air, the more fuel you can get, the more you can burn.
Wow. All right. So approximate the 0 to 60 for us here. Are we talking like spaceship numbers?
Less than a second.
Hold on, I'm about to blow your guys' mind. So we go 60 feet in 0.8 seconds.
Come on.
And we will be traveling over 100 miles an hour in 60 feet.
Wow.
Oh man. All right.
On the G meter, it'll pull 3.3 to 3.5 Gs at step of the throttle.
Wow.
At 330 feet into the run, about 2.1 seconds into the run, it'll pull almost 6 Gs.
Oh.
What does your brain feel like after a run?
Mush.
Yeah.
Well, did you have to train like a fighter pilot for that? Those are serious Gs. Like, do you have to clench the thighs and push the blood in your head? And
it's not sustained, so you don't really have the effects that they do like in a fighter jet where they're, banking turns and getting upwards of 7, 8, 9 Gs. But it definitely is hard as crap on your body by the end of the weekend. You feel like you've been in a cage with a UFC fighter.
So what would the 0 to 60 be? I know that you don't use those terms, but what would you guess?
Well, he just said it. 0.8 seconds. 0.4.
0.4.
Right.
You're saying?
Yes, sir.
0.4, Zuckerman. I've been thinking about this a lot because I wonder, as I see these 0 to 60 times in production cars get faster and faster, at what point does your brain just turn to cream corn, right? And he's saying he's doing a 0.4.
This race is over. This race is over in seconds.
Wow.
So a couple of years ago in Sonoma, we set the national record, and that was 3.67 seconds at 325 miles an hour. We our 8th mile time, 660 feet, was 2.93 seconds, and I was running 292 miles per hour.
Are you really aware of what's happening? Is it so automatic, how is this work? How is your mind working this fast?
I literally probably have thousands of, or maybe not thousands, but hundreds and probably a couple thousand runs in a top fuel car.
Wow.
And so everything is slow. It happens. I mean, it's no different than you guys making a couple laps around the track. You can describe, I can make a 10-minute speech on a 3-second run in a top fuel car of what I experienced, what I felt, what happened here, and how the car, just everything slows down. So after making those laps, your mind processes everything a lot quicker.
Yeah. Well, just to give you folks listening an idea of how good Steve is, you can tell how good he is. He's been nominated for Best Driver in the ESPYs, the 2019 ESPYs that are coming up July 10th. Listen to who he's been nominated with. Lewis Hamilton from Formula One, Scott Dixon, our buddy from Indy, and Kyle Busch from NASCAR. And Steve Torrence. Look
amazing.
At that. It's amazing. By the way, Zuckerman, Kyle Busch, I believe, drives the Peanut M&M car. And weren't we going to have Kyle come on the show? He did not. We're tired of these deformed peanut M&Ms, Steve, so we wanted Kyle to come on. He didn't come on, but you did, and now you can go and vote for Steve for Best Driver on the NHRA.com website. I believe it's also, we can vote for you. Let's see. I'm pulling it up right now. Here it is. At ESPN.com, SB voting. You want to go there, and you want to click on, and I'm going to do it right now, Steve Torrence, not only because he is the best driver of the year, but because
he's on our show.
He's not only that, he has 2 GT2 RSs.
That's right.
That's the reason why.
This is a guy who's truly faster than a speeding bullet. Not fucking Superman. Steve Torrence is faster than a speeding bullet.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for calling into the show. I know you're busy, but next time you're in LA, come into the studio here so you can teach us a little more about drag racing. You've piqued our interest here. And
we're going to be in town somewhere around the 10th of July for the ESPYs. So we'll
terrific.
Stay in touch with you guys.
Yes, sir. Well, good luck out there and continued success. That's Steve Torrence, everybody. Zuckerman, before we go, what do you have to promote? Do you have anything you want to say?
No, I'm just impressed.
That was fun. It was a fun show today. I feel like we went back. We had a nice visit with the 60s, the 1960s. We've bought mini bikes. We've talked about drag racing. These Spikes Car Radio hats are in production. We have a lovely summer here about to start. Get in your cars, drive them hard and fast, and enjoy yourselves. And, well, we'll see you next week on Spikes Car Radio. Quick before we go, 60 seconds. That's exactly how long this commercial lasts. You know what else you can do in about a minute? Get an offer with your car from TrueCar. That's right. In the amount of time it takes to floss your teeth, pet your dog, do a few sit-ups, just listen to my voice, you can get a true cash offer. Best of all, you can do it from your smartphone or at home. Just go to TrueCar and simply enter your license plate number and watch how your car's details pop up. Answer a few questions and you'll get an accurate true cash offer from local TrueCar certified dealer. It's that easy. After that, you can bring your car in and they'll check it out with you together, the two of you. You can even hug if you want. You can ask questions, get the answers you need so there's no surprises, and simply leave your check or trade in your car for a new ride. So when you're ready to experience a new, better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today.
Thanks for listening to Spikes Car Radio. Download new episodes every Wednesday on the Podcast One app or subscribe now at Apple Podcasts or PodcastOne.com.
Prepare to get stunned. The Steve Austin Show is back and better than ever.
And I've been kicking his ass, kicked out of the pile driver. You, it's time to go home.
With new exciting episodes featuring tales from his new life, unbelievable past interviews, and talks to pro wrestling pals. You name it, Steve's on it.
You're a hell of a damn wrestler.
Download new episodes of The Steve Austin Show every week on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.